So, bom dia. Muito obrigado to be here. And really want to thank you to the organizing committee for inviting us for hold this amazing conference, and particularly to the local leaders, Antonio Morin and Adrian, to encourage us, all of us, to act today. So, in the next 15 minutes, my presentation will be focused on share with you the main strategies and efforts that the company is doing. And in the rest of the conference, I will learn from you, so I expect to keep the conversation with you after the meeting. So the outline is quickly to show you some figures about the company, later put in context our strategic plan for research and development, and then go to direct to the solution that I want to exchange with you. So probably some of you know the company, but just to give you an idea of the volume of sales and the revenues and also the leadership that we have been facing as part of one country like Chile. And this, the meaning of this, the Chilean wine production should be exported because we are a small domestic market. So most of the effort has been looking for a good distribution, but also to have our own capacities for winemaking and growing, not only in Chile, but also in Argentina and United States. And this connects directly with the subject of our sessions. So you can see in the slide the number of hectares that we manage. We are reaching the 10,000 hectares in Chile. We are over 100,000 in Argentina and close to 500 in the United States. If we added the grape grower who has contract with us, these are 15,000 more hectares. We are talking about more than 25,000 hectares of vineyard that we are responsible about it. So the first decision that the company took a time ago was to have their own nursery. So almost 20 years ago, the company integrated vertically a nursery capacity, and I will show you how the research center now include a molecular biology lab to give more capacities to this production of plant production. 2.5 million plants are produced by year. And we have a kind of more than 1,700 combinations between our rootstocks, clonal, and grape varieties. So these all are opportunities for climate change adaptation. And in order to really have a strong actions regarding sustainability, climate change, the company has a journey. We summarize there some of the key aspects. As you can see, we belong to the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, which is highly relevant for us. We are in the top 10 beverage category. We also have a sustainability strategy. And it's interesting that this morning I received a communique from our sustainability area telling us that we became the first Latin American company to align with the science-based targets. So this, I don't want to take too much time in this figure, but I'm just trying to show you how the commitment has become through this different initiative. And particularly, I want to mention the initiative that is related to the conservation of native forests, more than 3,000 certificated and protected hectares. And I want to thank Olga for all the work that you have been done through the program and with the R&D consortium. I have been learning from you in the last 2 weeks, and it's a great effort, and I think we need to support more this initiative. Regarding the research center, just launched in 2014 with an initial investment of $5 million, has an operation budget of 2.5, and we work a year and a half to build our strategic plan. After that, we started in 2016. This is our roadmap with a portfolio of different strategic programs, 5 major strategic programs, and more than 70 initiatives of R&D. Currently, we are more than 25 people, 6 PhD and several senior researchers. We have a scientific committee board, consulting board, and we exchange interns of master science, PhD, that came to work with us in Chile from all over the world, particularly from Europe, and we have been receiving people from here, from Portugal. So in several strategic alliances, and just I want to put attention today on the R&D Chilean Wine Consortium that I mentioned before, because it's a real acting, or is the best way in which public, private, and academic can work together for a big goals. So in 2005, we launched the program. It's a $16 million, 10 years program, and most of the effort was in order that how can we collaborate together to reach or to face the challenge that is impossible to do it by your own. And for example, in this R&D consortium, with Miguel Torres, we are part of the board, and we have been working together to define the best projects for the sustainability of the Chilean wine industry. So I encourage to the people who is in charge of the public policy, look for this kind of framework in which public, private, and academia can work together. Quick views of our facilities, our experimental winery. It's relevant to mention that each of that steel tanks, for example, represent one replicate, biological replicate that came from the vineyard in our research. So this capacity allows us to create and vinificate wines that later go to our chemical and molecular biology lab, which is focused on state-of-the-art capacity of gas chromatography, mass spectrometry techniques, HPLC, plasma, spectroscopy, qPCR, microbiology, etc. And finally, we decided to set up the center in the 7th region, in the area close to Talca, which is 250 kilometers from Santiago, and not only set up the facilities for the research, but also the place where to disseminate and communicate our results. So we have an extension center, and I invite you, and you are more than welcome to visit us if you come to Chile, and this place is for the Porto protocol and the group at your serve. The strategic programs, we start with 5 strategic programs, and just updated the slide because at the end of the last year we started a 6th program, are basically focused on the most important process unit that we have opportunities to create value for the company from science and technology. So the first program is related to the strengthening of plant material. The second is related to climate change with focus on water use efficiency. And we just launched, as I mentioned, a program within the family of wineries that are dedicated to organic agriculture. That include Emiliana, Cono Sur, and Bonterra. If you add the total hectares of these 3 wineries, we reach almost 1,000 hectares of organic vineyard. And I completely agree with Miguel when he mentioned the paradox, but still, use pesticide is awful compared to the challenge that we have regarding, for example, the use of copper. So the idea of this group is bring the best practice and knowledge, technical knowledge that the viticulturist and winemaker of this winery has, and collaborate with the R&D team. And basically at this time, we are putting a lot of efforts on compost and soil microbiology studies. Quality assessment of grape and wines, a smart wine industry, and new product design complete the set of strategic programs. Now I will show you an example of the kind of projects that are related to the climate change challenge. And I would like to start by the project that is also in the R&D consortium, which is led by a couple. You will see in the right side of the slide the researchers that are part of this project. In the bottom, the different source of publications so that we can share with you if you want. This digital platform is for climate change prediction. And this platform uses 3 different models, support 3 different models, the Australian, the UK, and the American model for climate change prediction. And the utility is that you can go into the platform, select the vineyard you want to know, or the piece of land that you want to know how is going to be the bioclimate grapevine index in the future. The model can estimate until 50 years in the future, and is now used by us, for example, to take decision of where to buy the next vineyard for Cabernet Sauvignon, for example. And has been very useful, and we are taking decision based on this R&D product. A couple of examples of how the platform can allow you to play with the different variables, and is really useful for us. And this long-term initiative, this initiative of long-term prediction, is also combined with short-term. This slide shows you a system that we set up 3 years ago regarding viticultural intelligence and analytics, and particularly the Bioclimate Grapevine Index report that is done in collaboration with Dr. Fernando Santibáñez from University of Chile. And we create a digital community in which all our viticulturists and winemakers, and also key executive of the company belong, participate daily, and we upload there, for example, Congress presentation, papers. We put the key subject to discuss between us. For example, when the fire forest a couple of years ago attacked our vineyards, immediately people from FEDSEL, for example, send us information from the experience that they have in California. And the involvement of the group is totally, because even our CEO, Eduardo Ilizasti, is part of this group. So all the messages, all the company, key people, and technical executive are really doing the most important thing, exchange. The second message is about the plant material. From our point of view, we need to have a vineyard of the future based on techniques from molecular biology that will allow us to have clean and reinforced material. One of the, at least in Chile, big efforts in the last 20 years has been to fight against the grape chine disease and virus present on plant material, particularly because of the nursery don't have the previously until now, and now the techniques that can ensure you that the plant come clean from the nursery. So now we have this program and focusing a lot, for example, in to understand which clonal from Cabernet Sauvignon, for example, is the best for our own conditions. It's not the same to have the Reaper front and tap, how quality and productivity of clone 337 or 191 behaves. The summary of the 5 seasons research show you there, for example, that compared to muscle selection, clones 191 and 337 has the best behaves for our particular conditions. And this is connected with the message of the cleaning and straining material. You see there a summary of the different virus, bacteria, fungi that we already had set up in our laboratory. So this, the last year, 44,000 new plants came with this level of quality without any of these key pathogens that are at the end responsible of this grape giant disease. Particularly here, I want to mention the collaboration with Mercier Group and UC Davis Chile that have been great partners to develop all of these tools and techniques in our laboratory. Also, it's important to understand that, as I show you, we have almost 25,000 hectares in the central valley of the country. And when we invest in this vineyard, we are thinking on a depreciation of 30 years. But the climate change maybe is trying to force us to move to the south. But we cannot move the 25,000 hectares to the south. So adaptation is key, and to understand how we can manage the canopy, how we can manage the vineyard with the tools that we have is key for the future. So in this example of a strategy of leaf removal and cluster radiation protection, I just want to highlight, for example, the quality of the control grape and wines that were exposed to more radiation and exposed to these bad conditions. When we use the sunblock, for example, we reduce in 2 Celsius degrees as an average. In the impact on quality and productivity was high, so the cost of the sunblock were more than paid, and it's a kind of, for example, an alternative for adaptate or to work in the vineyard. Finally, I want to mention the project that is related to new technologies for irrigation and scheduling. Particularly, here we have against the challenge to manage 1,000 hectares, and we have drip irrigation in the 100% of our vineyards. We have great technology to pump, to move the water, but still we are irrigating using a hole. No, obviously we have some sensors, but still it has been not completely taken. We didn't take the opportunity of the fourth revolution. So now we are using the best available techniques in a mix, using surface renewal technology, which is a micro meteorology technology that allows us to calculate the evapotranspiration of the vineyard. And this estimation, based on a balanced energy, is connected with the satellite imagery management or analysis. So we sense a specific plot, which is highly representative of the most of our vineyards. Particularly, this experiment and project is focused on Cabernet Sauvignon. And you can see there's 5 hectares only dedicated to the surface renewal experiment. And then we extrapolate with a metric modeling the evapotranspiration for 100 hectares in the region. So, as an example, 500 cubic meters per hectare of water were saved using the technology. And what's really amazing, because we can keep the quality, we can keep the productivity, and we really can decrease between 20 to 40 even % of the use of water, and also the energy that you need to pump the water. So I encourage you to look for these methodologies that have been developed in California and has been working very good in the first 2 years of our research. So just to finish, some conclusion and takeaways. I think we need to work with the public agency, with the people who is in charge of public policy, to set up the best laws for the R&D development. For example, in Chile, we have an R&D law that allows us to recover 35% of the total investment and cost related to R&D project. So this is a good example of how we can support long-term research, also in collaboration with different parties. The Vineyard of the future, we need that to be reinforced, clean, and obviously can be from muscle selection, but clonal is a really great opportunity to keep the business on. And techniques like I mentioned of radiation, vineyard management are being used now to face the challenge of the increasing temperature or the rising temperature during the season. There are many other people will talk about it, but I think adaptation must become, we think that adaptation must become from the better understanding of the canopy management and opportunities there. The advanced micrometeorology and matrix modeling or other techniques for a better way to irrigate. And finally, a takeaway for me, for us, in this last 2 weeks preparing the meeting, reading a lot of things that I wasn't have the opportunity before, I have 2 messages for me. One is we should collaborate more with the effort on biodiversity conservation that has been done in Chile. And the other is how amazing is the biodiversity and the cork industry. I didn't know it, and for example, I get numbers like that. Each natural cork stopper can capture 112 grams of CO2. And if we add in the last 3 years the total natural cork that the company used, we can account for a kind of 10,000 tons of CO2 captured by the cork. So consumers that are choosing our wine, our cork, and I think this complement all the other efforts. And being here in Porto, I think we have to encourage the use of natural cork. So thank you.